And it's, I read an interesting article today about Yasiel Puig, and it was just talking about how he's, the maturity he feels that, having the birth of his, second child, he has a 3-year-old newborn, kind of grown up. It's nice to kind of see that because you see it on the field.
Right.
You start, and you just look at that talent, and then he's starting to see himself more as a role model, for Latinos. Vin Scully, I guess, it had a huge impact on him, and so now he started a foundation, the Wild Horse Foundation, which is, so from that standpoint, just seeing, he's starting to, he's starting to take advice from, Adrian Gonzalez.
He's doing interviews in English.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
he wants to be a comedian. He wants to, and he also wants to make a cartoon, a motion pit, be a voice for an animated cartoon. So, it's just, I think it's neat to see somebody, some redeeming qualities, because here's a guy that was thrown into the fire, had so much, what an impact, and then you see kind of, toilet away a little because of that, being young, and I guess, I don't want to say
when he first came up too, they were comparing Trout against Puig, who's the best, who would you rather have. All the talk shows were,
Yeah, and from the very beginning, I would tell people it's silly. It's nonsense. There's no comparison to Trout, not even a little bit. Even when Puig first came up and was just hitting the lights out and fielding the lights out and throwing the lights out, there just wasn't any comparison. And the other thing to remember with Puig is now we are starting to see a little bit more mature, more polished player. Whether the brain follows with all of that remains to be seen. But he didn't spend a lot of time in the minors. He didn't have a lot of at bats. I think it was something like 700, 600 at bats. It was like
it's 2 seasons.
A couple of seasons
and a half.
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, not a lot. And so, as a Dodger fan, you look at it and if Toles wasn't such a one-dimensional at the plate where you could hit lefties, you'd sort of look at that and say, when Toles and Peterson and Puig are out there, that's a pretty fast outfield. That's a really fast outfield, and a pretty talented. Toles needs some little more work on gauging fly balls, but Puig and Peterson are they're stellar.
No problem there defensively.
Yeah, exactly. So and so it's nice to see Puig, because it was so fun when he first came up, and you follow along, and spent time in the minors last year, because he just wasn't getting it. And Mattingly didn't like him. Roberts is a bit different, but Roberts is a little bit more of that grinder type of guy. And if he looks over and Puig isn't grinding.
Well, and Puig talked about, how, he's taking the stretching regimen more seriously. He's taking his diet, seriously.
You can tell his body is way leaner than it's ever been. And they wanted him to come in lighter last year, and he didn't. But this year he looks lean and mean.
Well, and it's good to see a family will do that to you. Yeah. That's one of those things when you start realizing, you got mouths to feed, and you've got.
He's not out eating fried strip club food.
Yeah.
Not that I'd know. I've heard.